Okay, we're going to configure Isadora so that we can use the MediaPipe framework and scripts. That will require that we create a virtual environment, install opencv, MediaPipe, and numpy. All right, so let's get started on that. All right, I'm going to open the Python folder. Along with Isadora, this folder is created and some supporting documents or supporting files are created here. This text file by default will be empty, which will mean that Pythoner will use Python that's built into the module itself. If it is supplied a path to a valid virtual environment, when Isadora is opened, it'll read that path and then tell Pythoner to use that. If you change that path, you'll have to restart Isadora. You can see I have a folder called Python Vens and then Vens Izzy, and that's the one I've been using recently, and it exists here. What we really want to do now is get into the Python support scripts and create a new virtual environment, create virtual environment. The scripts will be a little different on Mac, but essentially they work the same way. I double click that and run it. It's going to ask me to select a location for the script. I'm just going to put it into the Python virtual environments folder. And now it's going to ask me for a name for this. I'm going to call it MediaPipe. On the side was a command prompt running, and you can see that it's created the virtual environment and everything was successful. It's now opening it up to show me that it's there. I can close that. Now what I want to do is activate the virtual environment so that when I reopen Isadora, it will tell Pythoner to use this new version of MediaPipe or this new virtual environment to get started. All I have to do is within this folder, select the MediaPipe folder that it is. It will look inside to find the lib and scripts folder. So if I click OK here, it was updated to point to that. And if I go up a level, this now has been updated with that file path. That's all that does. All right, so we now have, other than restarting Isadora, we have it configured with a new virtual environment. But that virtual environment doesn't have anything special in it right now. So we have to continue on with a couple more scripts. We're going to install packages into an environment. So again, double click that. Again, select your package or your environment. And now the package name, this is where we need to install our modules that we're going to use. And one is numpy. Anyway, it gives you a very fast array system or type, I suppose. So it's used regularly. And if you want to use video with Pythoner at all, this is what you're going to need to do, is create a virtual environment and add numpy. You'll see here numpy was installed and all is good. Next, we're going to want opencv. That just provides a couple features that we need for this. It's quite common to do this, particularly with Pythoner and working with video, because we are supporting the video format of opencv as the default in Pythoner. All right, so again, we're just going to select our virtual environment. To install opencv for Python, there are a few different options, but this one provides everything you need. So it's opencv-python. That's like a minus sign dash there in case you can't see it because it's kind of small. So Python dash or opencv-python. Click OK there. Again, you'll in a side prompt here, it's running through and installing everything, and that was successful. All right. Now we need one last element, and that will be to install MediaPipe itself. Again, process is the same. MediaPipe, okay, the name of it. All right, and it's just going to go through and install a bunch of things. Because this gives you everything that MediaPipe has, which is quite a lot. Oh, interesting. It wanted a different version of numpy, so it's updating that and making it the correct version, I guess. So maybe I'll put a note on this video that you can get away with not installing numpy up front because MediaPipe will do it for us. Looks like it'll take a moment. Heard that took a moment, but we got to the end of it, and you'll see MediaPipe was installed and it's been successful. We go, okay. That's everything we need to install into our virtual environment to be able to work with MediaPipe. What I will do now is close Isadora and reopen it and show you the configuration of the script. All right, so I've reopened Isadora. Just to confirm that we are running the virtual environment that we want to work with, we will add a Pythoner actor. That'll do a couple things. First, it's going to ask us if we want to allow this because that preference isn't set in preferences. So I will allow Pythoner to run. We now have Pythoner working. We have access to the script inside, which just adds one-to-one. And if we now go to the help menu, there's this new line item here that tells you which virtual environment is loaded. And you can see it's looking at the MediaPipe virtual environment that we just created. So that means we're good to go with this. Now we have our default Pythoner code there. And to get this up and running, what we are going to need to do is simply just cut and paste your script. It'll be included in the sample file, but script is like this. Paste it in. You'll see that we're using CV2, MediaPipe, JSON, and numpy. Within here, we're defining the one input to be named as video frame and one output to be named as pose JSON output because we're going to format the data from MediaPipe as JSON. A little bit of initialization, doesn't really need to do anything there. Boilerplate type of code. Our main code that runs on every frame is here. And when we leave the scene, this closes MediaPipe down. And here's a chunk of code that will only run if you're using this in a editor like PyCharm or something. And I use this as a way of using these editors to write my code, running it locally to debug it in those debuggers, and then move it over to Isadora. I find that development quite a bit faster. And you can even do this just using external files that Pythoner links to. But in this case, I have cut and pasted in so that I can distribute it. You'll see this updates to video frame, this to the output. And for this to run now, what we need is really not too much more other than a live feed input and how we're going to deal with the output. I've already done that here in this frame that I've named, or this scene I've called working. So when I click on this, you'll see I get a live feed of my face. And it's tracking my nose currently and moving the triangle to my nose, right? It's running at 27 frames per second, the Pythoner code, somewhere in that range, I guess. Here, let's see. Yeah, close to that. So briefly what I've got happening here. I used to write some text here. This was all the JSON coming out. I just turned that off. So the JSON's coming out. I'm just unwrapping the first layer of it by pulling off the pose tag, which is here. Then within there, I'm looking at the first block of data, which is because it's an array, is always in the correct order. So block 1 ID, block 0, which is ID 0, happens to have the name of nose, and that's always the case. You can look inside the code actually if you want to see which ID relates to which name. Probably useful. So then I'm getting the visibility, the X and the Y, and you can use this visibility number as a way to turn on and off things that might have actually left frame. Okay, I hope this is enough to get everybody up and running.